Hi everyone. Today we are going to go through character creation for our LARP. This is our rule book. As you can see, it's a little beat up. It's been through a few games already this year, but it's well loved. You can see at the top it says Playbill for the DCP Main Stage Chronicle 2013 through 2014 season. And the title of this chronicle is On a Dark Desert Highway. You can see there's a picture here of a city in the background, the highway, a person, a shadow of a person walking down the highway. On the bottom, it says it's brought to you by our storytelling team and the names of everyone on the team. It's printed on this nice purple paper. On the back, it has a quick reference guide for lots of the rules we use throughout the LARP. But you don't need to worry about these just yet. Oh, here are some of my notes. There are some of my notes from Game 5, it looks like, about some of the scenes I ran, or needed to run maybe, and all sorts of notes. We'll just put those aside. So, we have our table of contents for the rule book. And right at the top here is where we begin with character creation. Now, we're going to follow through these steps, all 14 of them in order. Now, don't worry if it looks like there's a lot. There's a lot of things to think about, but I'll help you go through it. So, the very first thing we're going to think about is the inspiration for your character. You should think of some kind of basic concept, it says. That could be something like a housewife looking for a new husband, or a mafia member, or maybe a bruiser, a brawler in combat. Whatever sort of thing you decide you'd like to play. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be anything really. Just whatever you think you might like to do. My first LARP character in this group was named Betty, and she was a vampire housewife whose husband had disappeared long ago. So, let's think of that. And it's okay if you don't have an idea right now. We can go back and forth and think about what you might like. But the other first thing we should think about is the virtue and vice for your character. Now, these are very important as far as role-playing goes. Of course, they have some mechanical effects, but I think they're important because, as it says here, they're intrinsic elements of identity, whether we like to admit them or not. I don't know how true that is of real people, but for our characters, it's important. So, you'll pick one virtue and one vice. The virtues are the 7 heavenly virtues, and the vices are the 7 deadly sins, vices. Some of them are pretty intuitive, and some of them are a little more complicated, or rather, they don't have to be as straightforward as they seem. So the first one here is charity. That's helping someone else in a way that might put yourself in danger. Then we have faith, which could be faith in a some sort of religion, but it could also be faith in science or yourself or love or whatever you'd like. It's just about forging meaning from chaos, as it says here. The next virtue you could pick is fortitude. It's what it sounds like. It's withstanding overwhelming pressure to abandon your goals. Next is hope. It's hope. Refusing to let yourself or others give in to despair. Justice is next. It's just what it sounds like. It's doing the right thing. Next is prudence. This is when you are prudent. You refuse a tempting course of action and potential gains. And the last virtue you could pick is temperance. That's resisting temptation to indulge in something. Now, I think prudence and temperance can get a little bit confusing. Prudence is choosing not to do something that's tempting, that you could gain from. And temperance is choosing not to indulge in some sort of excess or behavior. They sound very similar, but it's okay. So, you should think of a virtue you might like to play and go with that. There's no wrong answer. So, the next thing after we've picked out your virtue is your vice. Again, it's the 7 deadly sins. The first one is envy. It's about wanting to take something from a rival or being envious of them. Gluttony is indulging your appetites, and it of course could be for food or for other things. Greed is when you acquire something at the expense of another. So it sounds a little similar to gluttony, but gluttony is about indulging something, the desire for sex or food or something, whereas greed is just having a thing. And of course, these don't have to be for physical things. It could be greed for power, I suppose. Lust is satisfying your passions in a way that harms someone. And again, these can sound a little similar, but that's all right. Lust doesn't have to be for a sexual passion or love or something. Any kind of passion. Pride is when you exert your own wants or needs over other people. Sloth is when you avoid a difficult task but still achieve the same goal. And wrath is unleashing your anger. Now, under all of these, it says something about regain willpower, and I suppose I should explain that. Your virtue and vice help determine how you should roleplay your character, of course. But they also have a mechanical benefit in that when you act out your virtue or act out your vice, you get willpower back, which we'll talk about more later, but suffice to say it's a thing you can spend to be better at things in situations. So, like I said, there's no wrong answer. Whatever virtue you'd like to pick and whatever vice you'd like to pick, go right ahead. Even if they seem like they might not go together well. Even if you want to do temperance and gluttony, that's all right. All right, so that was step 1. Part B, I suppose. Select a virtue and vice. You've decided on your basic concept, and you've selected a virtue and vice. You're all done with step 1 of our character creation. I'm very excited to see where you go from here. And I think your ideas are very interesting. And I'm excited to see you role play them. I think you'll do a really good job.